Vincent next appeared in the Elvis Presley movie The Trouble with Girls, which debuted in May 1969. The film stars Elvis Presley as Walter Hale, manager of a shiitake company, a sort of traveling entertainment and educational troupe that was popular in the 1920s. Price appears in a very brief part as Mr. Morality, a speaker who lectures the assembled group on the subject of, appropriately enough, morality. Price's old friend John Carradine also appears in a cameo in this one. This is the fifth film the two men appeared in together. To be perfectly honest, this is not one of the better Elvis Presley movies, and it's recommended mainly only for Price completists and Elvis Presley fans. Vincent's final film role of the 1960s debuted June 11, 1969. It was yet another AIP Poe film, The Oblong Box. Vincent stars as Julian Markham, a wealthy nobleman who lives in his family estate with his brother Edward, played by Alister Williamson. The two men have just returned from an expedition to Africa, where Edward was captured and tortured by natives, his face horribly disfigured. He went mad, and Julian keeps his brother chained up in a room in the attic of the Markham mansion. Edward has managed to get word to an unscrupulous friend named Trench, played by Peter Arne, that he wishes to escape and will pay well for help. Trench brings a witch doctor named Nagalo, played by Harry Baird, back from Africa to cook up a potion that will make Edward appear dead. Edward takes it and is later found lying prone in his room by his brother and pronounced dead.
Why did they have to take you? Can your soul ever forgive mine?
Upon death, it is customary to display a nobleman's body for the villagers to view, but Julian wishes to keep his brother's disfigurement a secret and blackmails Trench into finding a replacement body. Trench, with the help of Nagalo, murders his landlord and delivers the body to Julian. After the wake, Trench dumps the body in a nearby river while Julian buries his brother's body. Now that the ordeal of caring for his insane brother is over, Julian asks his sweetheart Elizabeth, played by Hilary Dwyer, to marry him, and she agrees. Grave robbing was a common occurrence in those days. A trio of grave robbers digs up Edward's body the very evening it's interred and sells it to a local doctor named Dr. Neuhartt, played by Christopher Lee, for medical research. Upon opening the coffin, Dr. Neuhartt is startled to find Edward still alive. Edward dons a red velvet hood to hide his scars. He threatens to tell the authorities of Neuhart's involvement with the body snatchers unless he lets him stay at his house.
Your body snatchers seem to have thrown you on the murder trail last night, Doctor. Would you like anyone to know about that?
He then sets out to settle the score against everyone who has done him wrong, prowling by night on a killing spree. The Oblong Box was directed by Gordon Hessler for AIP. It was originally scheduled to be directed by Michael Reeves, but the day before shooting was to begin, Reeves was found unconscious of a drug overdose in his apartment hallway and replaced by Hessler. Shooting began in November of 1968. Reeves died in February 1969 of another drug overdose. Vincent Price, Rupert Davies, Hilary Dwyer, and director Michael Reeves had all worked together earlier that same year in the film Witchfinder General. Price and director Gordon Hessler would go on to work together twice more after this in Scream and Scream Again and Cry of the Banshees, which would also star Hilary Dwyer. This film is notable in that it's the first time that Price and Christopher Lee worked together. The two became lifelong friends and discovered that they shared a birthday, May 27th. They would work together twice more in Scream and Scream Again in 1970 and House of Long Shadows in 1983. The 1960s were, without a doubt, Vincent's busiest and most productive decade. In addition to acting, he made numerous television appearances throughout the decade on game shows, television dramas, and talk shows. He stayed busy in theater, gave lectures, made personal appearances, wrote a syndicated newspaper column on art, and was spokesman for the Sears collection of fine art. On a personal front, his daughter Victoria was born in 1962. He traveled the world with his family, and he published 2 cookbooks with wife Mary. He was an international film star and more popular than ever. The next decade would be quite different from this one, however, full of change and turmoil, as well as new beginnings for the Master of Menace. Be sure and join me back here for more of the fantastic films of Vincent Price as we explore his career throughout the 1970s.